In 2013, the K-12 curriculum is implemented under the Republic Act No. 10533. This curriculum covers the kindergarten and 12 years of basic education to provide time for mastery of concepts and skills. It also aims to develop lifelong learners and prepare graduates for tertiary education, middle-level skills development, and entrepreneurship. However, with the additional academic years, citizens have openly shared their insights and criticisms.
Meron na ho yata mga tumututol sa K-12.
In this regard, our group will share our analysis on K-12 as future teachers in a pioneering batch of this curriculum. This will talk about the curriculum's strengths and weaknesses, and also some suggestions that may better its implementation.
Number 1, it provides holistic education. It is not just a student-centered curriculum, but it also covers the 3 areas of learning: the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. The 2 academic years added on basic education, which focus on areas of specialization, provide practical benefits, and also gives students options what to pursue after graduating. It's either trabajo, negosyo, or kolehiyo. Number 3, this curriculum focuses on enhancing the 21st century skills, which makes students globally compatible. Lastly, since this curriculum adheres to the global standard, this makes Filipino or the K-12 graduates at par with the rest of the world.
K-12 is not implemented well.
It's complicated.
It needs a lot of improvement.
We are experiencing difficulties.
One of the primary concerns in the implementation of the K-12 program is that teachers are not trained or prepared enough to teach in core subjects. For example, to be a teacher in senior high school in vocational courses like SMAU, a teacher needs Level 3 national certificate.
With the urgency in the implementation, some schools hired contractual teachers to solve the inadequacy of educators. Some teachers were also forced to teach subjects that are not in line with their specialty. And also, teachers' lack of knowledge and skills in the use of technology has become a hindrance in a successful knowledge imparting.
Next, resource and fund shortage. The K-12 in the Philippines may not be as effective as other countries if it is faced with problems like lack of classrooms, facilities, and comfort zones.
Undistinguished role of stakeholders. Most learners in K-12s are not aware of the rules and curriculum implementations. Also, parents are significant school partners, and schools needs to listen to parents' concerns.
So madaragdagan dapat yung budget na kailangan i-plan mo para sa mga kids mo.
The adverse effect of excessive academic loads affects the performance of both teachers and the students. Teachers are required to provide combined efforts in order to fulfill the standards set by the TEBED, while the students have to balance their curricular and academic activities.
Some subjects in the curriculum overlap and are redundant. While the K-12 program implements a spiral progression approach to teaching, and the overall focus for the basics is largely diffused. The redundant subjects for the junior high school are mathematics and science, where for senior high school, the subjects creative writing and creative nonfiction under the humanities and social sciences trend are overlapping.
Lastly, disoriented students. The implementation of K-12 curriculum enables the students to take another 2 years in high school. Students think that the additional years is enough to find a permanent and professional job opportunities.
However, this goal of curriculum is out of reach as most employers require the applicants to have a degree or at least a credit in college. Although there are jobs that accept senior high school graduates, it is limited and pays minimum wage.
Propose short-time trainings and seminar programs to augment the mastery of subjects. Teachers should collaborate with other teachers to identify shared goals for the entire school. The government should calculate project expenses to identify students' needs. Involve parents as well as the whole community to address the problems.
Students should be given equal opportunities by providing facilities, materials, and resources needed for learning. The government should also ensure and prioritize schools and communities that needed the support most.
Academic department should allocate teaching loads and management responsibilities along with students' activities. Identify academics involved in, then break down each activity into specific taught units and management roles.
DepEd should fix the current subjects rather than creating a new one. They should create subjects that covers the entirety of the concepts rather than doubling those by creating prerequisite subjects. Also, they should review the curriculum to ensure that no subjects are being taught by the teachers and being learned by the students again.
For further suggestions, students must be oriented that high school and college education are both important for their future careers. The implementers of K-12 curriculum must highlight its significance in preparation for future opportunities without disregarding the importance of college education.
The K-12 curriculum establishes its goals that aim for the development of Filipino students. It covers relevant, global, and practical contents and standards for teaching and learning. Unlike the old curriculum, this one is focused to the learners, which gives them a chance to explore and discover themselves more. However, with the unpreparedness of the country, the Department of Education falters on its implementation. With the mentioned loopholes previously, funds, workforce, and good governance are truly vital. Our group believes that this curriculum will better if the government and the nation will unite to increase these driving forces than the restraining forces.
Did you know that it is already almost 10 years since K-12 was implemented? The education landscape in the Philippines changed drastically with its implementation. As future educators taking Ed 210, the teacher in the school curriculum, we present to you Pioneers, Where Art Thou? A SWOT analysis for K-12 curriculum and implementation. For us to better understand these following concepts, now let's go to the definition of the K-12 basic education. As defined by the Official Gazette of the Government of the Philippines, the K-12 program covers kindergarten and 12 years of basic education to provide sufficient time for mastery of concepts and skills, develop lifelong learners, and prepare graduates for tertiary education, middle-level skills development, employment, and entrepreneurship. From the words of our Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III, he said, "Sa K-12, tiwala tayong mabibigyang lakas si Juan de la Cruz upang mapaunlad hindi lamang ang kanyang sarili at pamilya kundi maging ang buong bansa." The implementation of the K-12 system began on the 2012 to 2013 academic year. What is SWOT analysis? As defined by the mindtools.com, SWOT analysis or SWOT matrix is a strategic planning technique used to help a person or organization identify the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats related to business, competition, or project planning. Here you can see a SWOT analysis with its 4 elements in a 2x2 matrix. SWOT acronym stands for S, strengths, characteristics of the business or project that give it an advantage over the others. W, weaknesses, characteristics that place the business or project to a disadvantage relative to others. O, opportunities, elements in the environment that the business or project could exploit to its advantage. T, threats, elements in the environment that could cause trouble for the business or project. The first two are internal factors and the latter are external factors. Now, Now, let's look into this online document from the International Journal of Intelligent Computing Technology with the title SWOT Analysis, Philippine Educational System by Glenn L. Vilmonte, Associate Professor, Cebu Normal University. You can see the excerpt from the abstract of the study, and in this document, he has given light and depth to the analysis of the educational system in the Philippines and how it affects the job opportunities set for the youth and graduates of the identified educational system, which is free education with a legal basis on 2013 Basic Education Act. In his research, he has indicated the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the 2013 basic education system. And you can see here that the new curriculum K-12 was put into the opportunities of the said system. Now, isn't it intriguing? Now let's go to the SWOT analysis of the K-12 curriculum. But wait! Opinions matter! We asked some of the pioneers of the K-12 curriculum these questions. In a rating scale of 0 to 10, 0 as the lowest, 10 as the highest, how successful is the K-12 curriculum in its implementation? Why? And here are their responses. Hey, check this out. Here are the responses of the pioneers of K-12 program, and they have rated an average success for the K-12 curriculum and its implementation. Now, to further see what are the specifics, let's go to the SWOT analysis. First, let's go to the strengths. 1. Preparedness for tertiary learning. This highlights that graduates will be more equipped to deal with much higher level of learning as they enter college education. Number 2. Readiness to join the workforce. Unlike the old system, K-12 does not compel each student to take college after completing senior high school. In fact, this scheme empowers students to make a choice on their own. And number 3, K-12 is a learner-centered curriculum. It influences the students to take a more active role in the learning process. Now, let's go to the weaknesses. 1. Insufficient mastery of basic competencies due to congested curriculum. Inadequacy of instructional time is reflected in students' insufficient mastery of basic competencies. It is basically compliance and a bit of learning. Number 2. Socio-economic divide. With the additional 2 years of education, parents will have to provide money for tuition, transportation, allowances, and etc. Since everyone is not privileged enough, this can trigger increase of dropout rates. And number 3, inadequate facilities and equipment. The government must allot a bigger budget to educational needs such as number of school classrooms plus adequate supply of classroom chairs, books, and etc. since it affects the learning process and the environment of the learners. And now, let's go to the opportunities. 1. Greater job opportunities. There would be an ample amount of time for students to learn in the various fields they will choose from and master specific skills needed for the future. Number 2. Diploma provides options. The K-12 curriculum provides an option for students to continue with their tertiary education or proceed employment after senior high school. And number 3. Provides globally competitive graduates. In the K-12 program, graduates no longer need to go to school in the country of their employment as the education system in the Philippines is in line with the global competency. And lastly, let's go to the threats. 1. Instability of educational programs. Since our system aims to achieve a higher quality of education, the concern here is, can our institution be able to meet these standards and cope with the constant changes? And number 2. Politics in education. The government also allocates budget on the educational sector, and it is inevitable that there are politicians that have vested interests and also have authority that influences the educational system of the Philippines. And number 3, excessive academic burden on students. Due to the demanding standards of the curriculum, students are forced to spend long periods of time practicing, studying, and working towards success, and it leaves them very little time for downtime, self-discovery, and enjoyment. In conclusion, the Philippine educational system is concerned in responding to the ever-changing milieu in the international academic community, where students must be globally competitive. That means that programs must be aligned to meet international standards, though it means that system aims to achieve a higher quality of education. The concern here is that whether our institutions are able to meet these standards or will be left behind of the constant changes of which that leads to the instability of the educational programs. This has been quoted by Glenn Belmonte on his study, SWOT Analysis, Philippine Educational System on 2020. This is presented to you by Lobriza Elizabeth Marion, Content Contributor and Reviewer. Salmorin Rey Joseph, Content Contributor and Encoder. Sanchez Lyka, Content Contributor and Co-Video Editor. Taghap Karenjoy, Video Editor and Voice of the Presentation. We really appreciate you listening. Stay healthy and safe. See you on next meeting. Bye!